Hey, what's up guys? This is Prabpreet, and in this whole December series, I'm going over products inside of my camera backpack. This is the stuff that I use on a daily basis whenever I go out to shoot. So this is kind of a big backpack, so it has space for a lot of these items, and I thought, why not make a video in this whole December, try to make a video every single day. I missed yesterday, but make a video every day explaining the things that I carry and the things that I use, and kind of go over and make a review video on how these products are. Previously, I've gone through some of the accessories that I hold with me, like ND filters, but today I want to start going over the lenses that I use. So my primary lenses, how actually they built up over time. So quick little story here. I got into Sony photography or videography back in 2017, and my first lens of choice was the Sony 24-70 f4. Now do remember, this is a video lens. I started off as a videographer, so I really needed this lens where I could zoom in, zoom out to 24 millimeters and get some decent shots. This was my go-to camera for, let's say a full year of video. It basically gave me enough shots for the tripod shots or gimbal shots. I could basically use it everywhere and get really nice shots with it. But over time, I upgraded into 55 millimeter 1.8 from Zeiss as well, and then I also bought Rokinon 14 millimeter. Now I rocked these three lenses for almost 2 years, and then in about late 2018 I actually purchased the Sigma 35 millimeter 1.4 and Sigma 85 1.4. Now these two lenses were a killer of addition to my kit, because now I can get crazy good shots. Go to 1.4 aperture, get some really nice shots. 35 millimeter kind of became my favorite lens. But in this last year, in 2020 alone, I've bought Sony 20 millimeter 1.8, the G, and then I've also bought this King right here, which I call the King 24-70 Sigma 2.8. But at the same time, this lens, if you were to buy it from, let's say, Zeiss Batiste or anything like that, you'd basically have to pay like $200. So the main reason why I picked this up was because my photography could become much better. I could go lower apertures, such as 2.8 on this, and I wouldn't have to worry too much about low light or video performance, or basically having better shallow depth of field. So having a 2.8 lens that can go to 70 millimeters can basically change your whole life, because now you can shoot almost anything with this one lens. You don't have to carry anything else around with you. This basically becomes your primary go-to lens. So long story short, I really like this lens because it's very functional. I can use this almost anywhere. This actually kind of is better than the Zeiss Batiste, which is a surprise because that is about $1,000 more than this guy right here. And the first reason why I think that's the case, because for video at least, the focusing is not that great on Zeiss Batiste for video. It's great for photos, but for this lens at least, it's super sharp, the colors are great, and just the photos and videos that you get out of this lens is completely incredible. So when I bought this lens, I actually did an unboxing and a first kind of review video. I'll link it right here so you guys can go and check it out. But I just want to quickly go over the hardware. You have an autofocus, manual focus switch that you can switch obviously between both of the options, and then you have an autofocus lock that you can hold when you're focusing on something while taking a photo. It'll basically hold your spot, and then you can take the photo or move it around, whatever you prefer. And then the last thing that you have is a lock switch. Basically, this is for the times when you're traveling, I guess, and you don't want your lens to be opening in and out. However, zooming in and out is very fluid. It's not that simple to do it. It just takes slight pressure. It's not too much pressure, it's not too less pressure, but it kind of feels good when you do it. It's also very fluent when you do that. So if you're doing this for video, you're gonna get a very smooth zooming in effect. But at the same time, this is really nice, and then you can obviously lock it, and then you're no longer able to zoom in or out unless you push really hard, and then the lock basically goes open. But otherwise it would never just automatically just open up or break the lens, etc. So the lens cap on this is 82 millimeters, which is great because the biggest Polar Pro ND filters are 82 millimeters, which works really nice. So if you're trying to buy Peter McKinnon's Polar Pro ND filters, definitely this works. 82 millimeters is right there. My 85 millimeter from Sigma is 86 millimeters, so that's not making the cut. But for this, at least, it's 82 millimeters. You can get a ND filter on top of this, which would work perfectly fine for this. And then, you know, one thing that I'm realizing is when you do take photos, this is super sharp. There's literally almost no vignetting on the sides now that is there. Obviously, when you're taking photos, some vignetting isn't going to hurt your photos, but just because it has a little bit doesn't mean it's a bad photo. But as you can see on the Tamron 28 to 75, it has a lot of vignetting. And then also the fact that it goes from 28 to 75, it doesn't go wide enough. So some people may not like that, but it also goes deeper in. But I think that is only $200 to $300 cheaper than this option right here, so definitely go for the Sigma 24 to 70. It is my go-to lens now. I basically take it everywhere, and I don't need to take it anywhere else. Another thing that I do want to mention is that I actually broke this lens a couple weeks back. It fell right on the bottom front, literally just on the dance floor, and then I've sent it back. They repaired it, they sent it back. And one thing I want to mention is that this hood right here that they have on top is premium quality. My camera basically fell up front with the tripod, so all that weight on top of a hard floor, a dancing floor basically, and guess what, none of the lens cracked. This hood basically went down, so it created impact on the lens cap hood right here, so it basically cracked this guy here, but it never actually did anything. Obviously the hood was done, but the hood was strong enough to protect the camera. And now this has happened to me before with Sigma 35 1.4, where my camera fell something like this, the hood broke, the plastic basically cracked on the sides here, but nothing actually happened to the glass. And I was able to pick it up, shoot more video with that, and everything was completely fine. So I don't know. So kudos to Sony for making such a good body after such impact. Nothing actually happens, but even great kudos to, you know, just the lens itself, because this build quality is super nice. When it falls down, nothing's gonna happen. Your hood's probably gonna save it if you have the hood on. Obviously, if it fell like this without the hood, then obviously, you know, the glasses right here, it would be shattered. But thankfully that did not happen, and they repaired it and they sent it back. Works perfectly fine for me. So the last thing I want to mention is that because you can shoot 24 to 70, you can get some wide shots of, let's say, families or anything. So if you're doing weddings especially, this is a go-to lens that you should look into, really. I can't recommend this enough. This is the go-to lens for weddings because you can get 24 really wide shots, so if anything's happening you can just zoom in and get a good shot. But having prime can make some sort of stress at times, because let's say if you have an 85mm on and all of a sudden someone wants you to take a group photo, well, guess what, you can't, because now this lens is way too zoomed in. But this guy, you can go at 24, take that group shot, and then zoom in to 70 and then take that portrait as well at 2.8. At the depth of field at 70, 2.8 is going to be really good. You are kind of compromising with the prime. Yeah, you like can't have 85 at 1.4 kind of depth of field, but 70 at 2.8 does the job for weddings or anything like that. This is a killer lens. Definitely recommend it. Even if you're just starting off in photography, I'd recommend 24 to 70 because it is a good range. Whether you get the F4 from Zeiss or you get this, I think they're the same price. Unfortunately, Sigma is, or fortunately, Sigma is just coming in and taking over the photography world for Sony. They're just making it much better, actually, because all these lenses are now cheap and affordable, and you know, people can go out there and up their game without having to spend too much money. So that'll be it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed it, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and comment down below if you have any other questions about this lens. Be happy to answer them down below. And that'll be all. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.